Hi guys, and welcome to today's vlog. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that is not so popular. I want to talk about some of the negative things I have to say about Nigeria and how they are a direct result of Western colonization, aka white people colonizing Africa. So Nigeria is a pretty new country. Colonization happened up into around 60 years ago within Nigeria. However, regardless of when colonization ended or not, I really want to talk about some of the effects that it has and why it does matter. People want to argue, oh, skin color doesn't matter, color doesn't matter for certain things. And it does matter, and this is why. First of all, let's talk about white Jesus. White Jesus is everywhere in Nigeria. Everywhere. It's crazy that it is there. And when I say white Jesus, I mean blonde hair, blue eyes Jesus. And when I ask people about it, the first thing is, it doesn't matter what color he is, the message is most important. And I'm here to disagree with that. It does matter what color he is. And the fact that you have a white Jesus in a country that is 99% black and majority of those black people are dark skinned, it matters. Here's one reason why it matters. One, you have psychology. Basic psychology says that you like what you are around. So there are different types of experiments where if you see somebody and every time you see somebody you give them a type of candy that they like, then when they see you, they're going to automatically get happy, and they may not even understand why they get happy. They're just like associating you with like a positive experiment. Another kind of experiment that they have is you like who you are around. So the more time that you like someone and you're familiar with their face, you will like them. And we see this with our favorite cartoon shows. We see that even with like, there's like a meme going around where like when MASH was on, it was time to go to school. Like MASH is not really a good TV show that a lot of my generation liked. It's a little outdated. However, we still have a positive connotation with the theme song. It was time to go to school. It was something that was a part of our everyday life. Now imagine that with a deity. Imagine that with a God image that you use every day. You're looking at it every day. A lot of times Jesus is something that we hang up in our house and have the first the meal, or it's the first thing we see when we wake up. It's something that we see every day. And then when we are in a time where we actually need him and we're going to him in prayer, we're associating him with this image. Or when something great happens, we're associating it. When something bad happens, we can be associating it with it. But all the time, throughout our entire life, we are associating this white man, this false image of God with our everyday life. That translates. So first of all, that false image is Caesar Borgia, and he is not Jesus. That's not what he looks like. In the Bible, his skin was of burnt brass. If you burn brass, it's chocolate. His hair was of wool, woolly texture, of sheep's wool. That is locks or afro natural hair. Black hair is what he had. So he wasn't that. But now when it's time for us to find a mate, or it's time for us to date, we are attracted to what we are used to, what we like. You hear a lot of times when people go to schools that are mostly white in America or all over, they're like, oh, well, I dated who was around me. I'm dating these people because I went to school with these people. They actually have some sort of stands to that. Like, there is some meat to what they are saying. But I digress. There was a campaign that was playing on Trace Nyjah called like basically a My Black is Beautiful campaign. And I'm like, it blew my mind. Why do they need to have that here where everybody is black? Why do you have to have a My Black is Beautiful? Why are we talking about colorism? Because colorism is a thing. Because white Jesus is a thing. When you know that the God that everybody is talking about looks like you, is black like you, come from their lineage, that lineage that is talking in the Bible, you come from that. When you know that, it gives you so much confidence. When I knew that, it gave me so much confidence. And it makes me sad that so many people don't know that. And we're seeing that. In the music videos, you are seeing some of that colorism. It transcends. That colorism has transcended the entire world because of white colorism and white people pushing racism. Like, this is so deep. And it's not, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters. You don't see white people having to have a My White is Beautiful campaign. Especially in countries where majority of the people are white. I can see there's a melting pot, but they don't have it anywhere. Even when they're not majority, they don't have it anywhere. But we have to have it everywhere. So that's the first one. Like, even in America, like, we are starting to have black Jesus. Egypt is not Middle East. Egypt is Africa. Okay? There's a meme going around now saying if Jesus was to come back, you know, he couldn't get back in because he's Middle East. First of all, Jesus was African. Jesus is black. Okay? I just want to say that. Jesus is black. Jesus' skin of burnt brass. Jesus is chocolate African features. I don't want to hear this Middle East. Jesus was not Arab. People are trying to get past this and say, oh, he definitely wasn't blonde and blue-eyed and stuff, but he was this like racially ambiguous, or he was Middle Eastern. Now we're going, okay, he's Middle Eastern. Let's keep going. Like, no, he was black. Everything that happened in the Bible was in Africa. Like, let's not play these games. And even then, the blacker you go, like, the Middle East was black too. That is what it was. Like, that's another day for you to go back in time to figure it out. Like, but there are already studies showing Buddha was black and everything else. But, you know, I digress. It just makes sense that, okay, if even Buddha, let's talk about Buddha. So if you look at Buddha in China, Buddha is Chinese. If you look at Buddha in India, Buddha is Indian. Jesus in Nigeria is blonde hair, blue eyes, Caesar Borgia look-alike. And people are praying to that. And it has a psychological impact. It does. Next, I want to talk about how everywhere I go, this is the same story. I've gone to Brazil. I've gone to Australia. I've gone to Dominican Republic. I've gone to Haiti. We all have the same story, and I need people to understand that we need to get outside of our bubble. You look at, oh, this is what's going on in my neck of the woods. White people aren't that bad. There are certain instances where we have black people too that are doing not great things. I can't just couple them all up. We need to take a step outside of our individual circle and see that everywhere you go, the darker hue, the black person is the most oppressed. We have to get outside of our circle. It's not one-off. It's not just here. Like in Nigeria, they were saying, oh, well, you know, our government is corrupt and blah, 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 blah. But who put the corrupt people in place when you just started your very new nation? White people put them in place. They put the corrupt people in place. They could have put not corrupt people in place. Who was feeding them? Who was supporting them? 14 African nations still pay France taxes from slavery. And last I checked, it reached around $2 billion a year worth of taxes. African countries are struggling for water and to sustain, but they're paying these taxes, and no white person has said, this is wrong, I'm going to stop this. We have to take our bubble off and take out what happened to us. People will take the fact that they were bullied or they were hurt or something happened on an individual basis and then try to say this is how everybody is. But that's not the case, because if it was, trust, there would be one nation somewhere that didn't welcome white people in, that didn't allow them to colonize them. And when I say allow, I mean, of course, there was fighting and stuff, but they had to be welcomed in at first. We can look at American Thanksgiving. They almost died. We welcomed them in, fed them, and in exchange for us giving food during the first Thanksgiving, white people gave smallpox blankets and killed nations. And that's how they were able to, quote unquote, colonize, and that's how you have your first states in the United States of America, through evil. And those are little stories that we have all over the US and all over the world. I just want people to understand that statistically, for at least the last 600 years, white people are evil and have been doing monstrous things to us, to the point where we have not done those things back. And we also need to talk Can you just give me this? Statistically, for the last 600 years, white people have been easy. Let's at least start with this. For the last 600 years, white people have been evil. Statistically and historically, they have been evil. Everywhere you go, for the last 600 years, there are stories of black people all over the world welcoming them in and them doing some really messed up stuff, to the point where we're fighting each other and we're arguing with each other. And we need to understand that globally we have the same enemy, white people. Like, we need to take our step outside of ourselves and really think about that. Globally, they have gone to every corner of the world. A black person has welcomed them in, and they have killed them, made them subhuman, so many things. And a lot of things we don't even know about. When I was talking to people about the 14 countries paying taxes in Africa, people don't even know what the next country is doing as far as that. That's not something that's well known. But you hear people arguing in politics saying, I would never want to work with insert tribe. I'd rather work with a white person before I work with insert tribe's name, like group. No. That hurts my heart when I hear that. And that can be anywhere in the world. I won't want to work with blah blah blah. I'd rather work with a white person. But they are why you are here in this situation today. Why this is happening right now. So my call to action is, 1, look at yourself and get rid of that white deity and replace it with a black one. The darker you go in history, the blacker it goes. So I'm going to 100% say that these characters are black. So let's make them at least what you represent, because representation matters. I'm also going to force you guys to take a step back, and when you hear someone saying something about a certain another black group and using stereotypes to describe them, I want you to take a step back and be like, wait, there are stereotypes about my group that I know aren't true. Let me not force this stereotype to this other group. Let me look at this person on an individual basis. Let me be the unity that we need, because we need a global unity. And inside our countries, we need a unity. We need to stop fighting with each other. So, I mean, make a comment. What do you guys think about this? I was like really in shock. But I'm not surprised. Like, colonization really messed us up. But these conversations have to happen. This is how we get better. This is how we get unity. Like, I had great conversations with people in Nigeria, and we were going back to back, receiving each other's information, receiving each other's perspectives on life, and it was a great time. What do you guys think? What are some discriminations that you've had about your people? I know when I went, people were like, oh, you're from Chicago, you're from Chirac, is everybody killing each other? And I'm like, wait, everybody here is not in huts. So you know everybody in Chicago is not running around killing each other. I've never seen a drive-by. Never, been in a situation where a gun was pointed at my face. I've also never been involved in a gang. Like, you can do that. You can be in the Chicagoland area, go to work in Chicago, so you're in Chicago, 5 days a week, and nothing bad can happen to you. That's possible. It's also possible for you, in wherever you're at, to not have the stereotypes that are talked about you. So when you see somebody from somewhere, let's not just go first with stereotypes. Let's have conversations. And we have conversations. For me, I was like, Boko Haram is the same as any gang in Chicago. You may not agree with what they stand for, but they are standing for something and are making a group that believes that. Boko Haram is against Western civilization. So anything that has to do with that, they are against that. Different areas and gangs are against other people taking their block. They're against their pillars. They have their way of life that they don't want taken away. You can agree, you can disagree, but at the end of the day, once you understand what people are standing for, it makes it easier to help them or to fix the problem. So I had a great conversation with that, and I was like, okay, I get it. But you have your issue, we have our issue. I don't think that the entire Nigeria was Boko Haram. I felt very safe in my area, but I also wasn't in the north where they are very prevalent, and I knew that. Just like when people come here, like, you know where you are and that you are safer because of maybe where you are or who you're with. There's so many parallels. I'm gonna end this here. Bye, guys.